What if the real spark of intimacy after 50 isn't about desire at all, but about safety? Let that sink in for a second. Because according to new research, your body can't feel desire if your nervous system doesn't first feel safe. And here's what shocks most women I talk to: nearly 60% of women after 45 still love their partner deeply, yet feel less connected physically. Not because love has faded, but because biology quietly changed the rules. When estrogen drops, blood flow slows, nerve sensitivity shifts, and the body begins to misread even gentle touch as stress instead of comfort. But here's the good news: your body still remembers the map to closeness. It's written into your nerves, your skin, and your hormones. You just have to learn how to speak that language again. I'm Dr. Lisa Perriera, a board-certified gynecologist with over 30 years of experience helping women navigate menopause hormone changes and the deep emotional landscape that comes with them. And I can tell you, this intimacy after 50 doesn't disappear, it transforms. It's no longer about speed, novelty, or performance. It's about regulation, safety, and rediscovering the signals that make your body whisper, "I'm home." In today's video, I'm going to show you 4 overlooked kissing spots backed by neuroscience that can awaken bonding hormones, calm the stress response, and rebuild connection naturally, plus 1 bonus gesture that restores comfort and confidence in ways no supplement or hormone patch ever could. These aren't tricks or gimmicks, they're biology. But before we begin, I want you to take a breath slowly, because what we're talking about isn't just physical touch. It's a nervous system conversation between 2 people who still care deeply, but may have forgotten how to listen through the skin. Imagine this: a single, slow kiss in the right place can tell your brain, "You're safe, you're wanted, you can relax now." That's when oxytocin rises, tension melts, and warmth begins to return. If you're new here, welcome. I'd love for you to subscribe and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. So many women over 50 around the world are rediscovering their confidence, connection, and vitality, and you might be the story that inspires the next one. In just a moment, we'll begin with the first forgotten spot, a place so simple yet so powerful that gentle attention there can shift your entire body from guarded to open in less than a minute. Because when safety returns, desire follows. Are you ready? Let's start. Let's start with the first forgotten spot, the nape of the neck. It might seem ordinary, even unremarkable. But biologically, this small curve at the base of your skull holds one of the most powerful keys to emotional and physical connection after 50. Here's why. As estrogen declines, your body doesn't just change hormonally, it changes how it interprets touch. Areas that once felt exciting can sometimes feel too abrupt, too direct, or even uncomfortable. Meanwhile, other regions like the back of the neck remain deeply sensitive and rich with nerve endings that link directly to your brain's emotional and safety centers. When gentle touch or slow kissing begins here, it activates cutaneous sensory fibers that communicate with the limbic system, the region that governs emotion, memory, and bonding. In simple terms, this tiny area is a direct line to your body's trust switch. When that switch turns on, your heart rate slows, your breathing deepens, and your body shifts from guarded to receptive. This isn't theory, it's physiology. The vagus nerve, which runs along this region, plays a vital role in calming the nervous system. Gentle, steady contact at the nape helps activate this nerve, promoting parasympathetic dominance, the state where relaxation, warmth, and emotional connection become possible. I've seen this countless times in my practice. A woman in her late 60s once told me, "Dr. Lisa, I thought that part of me was gone forever." But when she and her partner began focusing on slow, sustained touch at the nape before anything else, everything changed. Her shoulders softened. Her breathing steadied. She said, "It's like my body remembered what peace felt like." And that's the truth. Your body never forgets safety. It just needs to be reminded. Technique matters here. Move slowly. Sweep the hair aside gently. Pause long enough for warmth to spread. Then hold a light, unhurried kiss. No pressure. No rush, just presence. Because your nervous system reads the difference instantly, one says, prepare, the other says you're safe. What many women discover is that once this area is activated, tension across the shoulders and jaw melts. That's not imagination. It's muscular and neurological. Years of stress caregiving and holding yourself together physically accumulate here. And when a partner engages this zone with calm, deliberate attention, it sends a powerful signal to the brain you can release now. I often recommend pairing this with breath synchronization. 3 slow inhales and slightly longer exhales. That rhythm alone can deepen vagal activation, allowing the heart, lungs, and skin to sync in calm coherence. It may seem small, but the effect is profound. When your nervous system registers safety oxytocin, the hormone of trust and bonding begins to rise naturally. And once oxytocin flows, the sense of separation that many women describe after menopause starts to fade. The body feels connected again, not forced, not performed, simply ready. So begin here. Not because the nape of the neck is magical, but because it reliably creates the conditions for intimacy to return. Calm, first connection, next. From this foundation, every other gesture, every other touch feels more natural and more welcome. And as that new rhythm begins to take hold, another area quietly waits just a few inches away, one that neuroscience shows can boost oxytocin even more effectively and deepen emotional closeness without a single word. We'll explore that next. Now let's move just a few inches from where we left off to the space just behind the ear. It might look insignificant, but it's one of the most powerful zones for restoring closeness and connection after 50. Here's why. That delicate patch of skin behind the ear is packed with cranial and cervical nerve endings that communicate directly with the brain's emotional centers. When touched or kissed gently, it sends rapid signals through branches of the vagus nerve, influencing the release of oxytocin, the same hormone that builds trust, emotional bonding, and calm. In simpler terms, a kiss here can quiet stress faster than any candlelit setting or perfect words ever could. This tiny area also helps recalibrate your nervous system after years of hormonal changes. During menopause, as estrogen declines, cortisol levels often rise. That shift can make even affectionate touch feel slightly overwhelming. But behind the ear, the skin is thin, the contact is subtle, and the nervous system reads it as comfort, not pressure. For many women, that difference is life-changing. One of my patients, Linda, 62, once told me she used to flinch when her partner reached for her, not because she didn't love him, but because her body stayed in alert mode. When they began starting their moments of intimacy with a slow, breath-matched kiss just behind her ear, something changed. She said, "For the first time in years, my body didn't brace, it softened." That's the oxytocin effect in real time. As levels rise, heart rate slows, blood pressure eases, and muscle tone relaxes. The body stops preparing for threat and begins preparing for connection. And there's another layer here, an emotional one. Throughout life, this spot has held whispers, secrets, and laughter, shared in confidence. Touching it again after decades of routine can awaken that sense of being chosen, of still being seen as special. For many women, that emotional reassurance matters as much as the physical sensation itself. Technique here matters just as much as intention. You don't need intensity. You need patience. Start with slow breath, then a brief pause and a gentle brush of lips or soft exhale of warm air. No pulling, no rushing, just quiet focus. Because the nervous system knows the difference between pressure and presence. When touch is patient, oxytocin continues to rise. And as it does, the brain naturally reduces cortisol, the stress hormone that blocks desire and emotional openness. That's why this tiny, easily missed zone can do something remarkable. It helps your body shift from guarded to engaged, from wary to welcoming. I often tell couples behind the ear is not a place for performance. It's a place for listening. You're listening through your hands, your breath, your patience. Because when you approach intimacy as listening rather than proving, everything changes. For some women, even this small act can rebuild trust in their body again. Trust that connection is still possible, that touch can be gentle, healing, and safe. And once that message lands, once oxytocin has softened the edges and your body begins to open the next spot, we'll explore, takes that safety and turns it into warmth. It's a place you use every single day, yet almost no one realizes how responsive it truly is. It's visible, accessible, and capable of restoring comfort in the most ordinary moments of life. Let's talk about that one next. The next area might surprise you, the inner wrist. You see it every day when you check the time, wash your hands, or reach for a cup of tea. But what most people don't realize is that this small, delicate surface holds extraordinary potential for connection, especially after 50. Biologically, the inner wrist is one of the most nerve-dense and blood-rich regions of the body. The skin is thin, the vessels are close to the surface, and every touch here sends immediate feedback through the median and ulnar nerves up to the brain. That's why a slow kiss, or even a gentle hold at the wrist, can feel surprisingly powerful. The brain reads it not as urgency, but as care. From a neurological standpoint, stimulation of this area activates parasympathetic responses, the same calming system we triggered at the nape and behind the ear. It slows the heart rate, steadies breathing, and releases subtle waves of oxytocin and dopamine. It's your body's way of saying, I feel safe, I can soften now, and the emotional meaning runs even deeper. Throughout history, the wrist has symbolized vitality. It's where we check for a pulse, where we measure life's rhythm. When a partner holds or kisses that point with intention, it sends a powerful message: I see you. I recognize your energy. I'm not rushing you. I'm here with you. One of my patients, Marlene, age 64, once said something beautiful. When he kissed my wrist, it didn't feel sexual at all. At first it felt human, like someone was saying, you're still alive and I'm grateful for that. That one gesture made me feel seen again. Moments like that remind us intimacy after 50 isn't about performance, it's about presence. And what makes the wrist remarkable is that it's accessible anywhere. You don't need a romantic setting or perfect timing. It can happen while sitting at the dinner table, sharing coffee in the morning, or saying goodbye at the door. A gentle touch here blends affection into everyday life, building connection, quietly, consistently, without pressure. Small, repeated signals of comfort matter more than grand gestures. Each one trains the body to associate touch with ease instead of vigilance. Over time, that rewiring helps many women notice that their desire doesn't need to be forced. It re-emerges naturally once the body trusts the moment again. Technique makes all the difference. Avoid mechanical movements. Start with stillness. Let your fingers rest around your partner's wrist. Breathe together once or twice. Then a slow, deliberate kiss, not too long, not too short, just enough for warmth to register. Eye contact, if it feels comfortable, amplifies the safety signal even more. I often encourage couples to view this as a health practice, not a trick. Gentle, mindful wrist contact supports the same biological pathways that reduce stress, lower blood pressure, and improve sleep quality. It reminds the body that closeness is restorative, not draining. Try it tonight, without expectation, without agenda. Just hold, breathe, and notice how your body responds. Maybe your shoulders drop. Maybe your chest feels lighter. That's the beginning of reconnection. And once you've built that trust, once safety and warmth return, there are deeper, more vulnerable areas waiting to be rediscovered. They carry more emotion, more history, and yes, a little more risk. But when approached with patience, they unlock the kind of intimacy that feels both tender and powerful. In the next section, we'll explore these riskier spots areas that often hold self-consciousness or tension, but when touched with empathy, become sources of healing and deeper bonding. Now that safety and calm have returned, let's talk about the next level of connection, the vulnerable zones that carry emotion, memory, and trust. I call them the riskier spots, not because they are off limits, but because they hold history stories of self-consciousness, motherhood loss, or change. Handled with care, they can become pathways to deep healing and renewed intimacy. The first is the hollow of the collarbone, that small dip just below the neck above the chest. It's a tender intersection of nerves and emotion close to the heart, both physically and symbolically. When touched gently or kissed slowly, it sends a powerful message: you are still cherished. For many women after 50, this area carries a mix of vulnerability and nostalgia. It reminds them of being admired, seen, and loved in their youth. But when revisited with patience and genuine affection, it brings that same warmth back, grounded in the wisdom of experience rather than performance. The second is the inside of the elbow. This soft curve of the arm is rarely noticed, yet it's filled with sensory receptors that respond vividly to gentle pressure. Because it's such an unexpected place, a light kiss here often elicits that quiet shiver, not from surprise, but from awakening pathways that have long been dormant. One of my patients once said, "It's the first time I realized my skin could still remember joy." Then there's the lower stomach and the hip bones areas that often hold tension or self-criticism. Scars from childbirth, stretch marks, or changes in shape can make many women withdraw from this part of their body. But when these regions are approached with acceptance, a slow, patient hand, a kiss without expectation, the body begins to reinterpret touch not as judgment, but as reassurance. That transformation is profound. It's the body's way of rewriting the story: you are not broken. You are still beautiful. You are safe in your own skin. None of these gestures should ever be rushed. They belong later, after calm has been established. Without safety, they can feel invasive. With it, they become deeply affirming. So talk about it. Ask before you touch. Simple questions like, "Does this feel okay?" or "Would you like me to stop?" are not interruptions, they are proof of respect. And respect in midlife intimacy is the most powerful aphrodisiac there is. Now let's end with a gesture that requires no words at all, one that I believe every couple over 50 should rediscover: a hand resting gently on the lower back. It's simple, but the science behind it is remarkable. The lower back anchors your body's center of gravity and holds the tension of years, caregiving, hard work, and emotional load. When someone places a calm, steady hand, there it tells your nervous system you can lean, you can rest, you're not carrying this alone. That single act can lower cortisol, slow heart rate, and release oxytocin. It's not sexual, it's grounding. And paradoxically, grounding is what allows sensuality to grow again. In everyday life, that gesture can happen anywhere: walking together, cooking, waiting in line. It blends connection into ordinary moments, reminding both partners that intimacy isn't something you visit occasionally. It's something you live inside of. So let's recap. The nape of the neck calms your nervous system. Behind the ear releases oxytocin and emotional safety. The inner wrist connects daily presence with affection. The collarbone, elbow, and hips reclaim self-acceptance and vulnerability. And the hand on the lower back restores stability, grounding, and trust. Each of these isn't about arousal, they're about communication. They say, "You're safe, you matter, You are still deeply desired. After menopause, intimacy doesn't fade, it evolves. It becomes quieter, wiser, and infinitely more meaningful. Presence replaces performance, connection replaces comparison. And the truth is, when women feel safe, seen, and valued, desire doesn't disappear, it comes home. If this message resonated with you, take a moment to subscribe and share your story in the comments below. You never know who might read it and realize they're not alone. And before we close, let me remind you, this video is for educational purposes only. It does not replace medical advice. Every woman's body is unique. If you're experiencing discomfort or personal concerns, please consult with your healthcare provider. Your well-being deserves personalized care. I'm Dr. Lisa Perriera, and I hope this conversation helps you rediscover what your body already knows. Intimacy doesn't vanish with age, it deepens with awareness. You are not too late, you're right on time.